to the Capeless Crusaders, live at the time from the Safe House. My name is David Barrie at Dr. Barrie on varying social media platforms. Joining me again this evening, it's gonna be a long one. We're joined by my friend Mickey at, I just forgot all your handles.
I'm at Dad is Unemployed on Instagram and Twitter.
Yes, at Dad is Unemployed. So we are here once again talking about the Marvel films. We're specifically talking about Phase 2 tonight. So basically the premise behind what we're doing is Mickey has no comic background, and Mickey is watching all of the Marvel movies, sometimes some of them for the first time, some rewatched and kind of reacquainting himself, and he gets to basically experience some of the fun and some of the not so fun all over again. Ruru, yes, that this is just one room in the safe house. We're a fancy safe house. We're an underground bunker with several dozen rooms. We have a chauffeur. It's basically the mansion of safe houses. So, Mickey, Phase 2.
Phase 2.
So you came out of Phase 1. You're running off that high of Avengers.
I got the Avengers high, and we ran right into Iron Man 3. I have questions.
Yeah.
Let me start by saying this. I didn't hate it.
No.
And it's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's got a tough act to follow.
Right.
So let me start here. So I saw this one in the theater.
Okay.
I remembered very little of it. I remember thinking of it. I was going, oh, it takes place on an oil rig, which it doesn't, but it's kind of close because they're talking about an oil tanker and they're at like a shipyard, which is as close as I could remember. And I was like, and there's like a lot of Iron Man suits, which was also true.
Right.
Basically, what I remembered was the final battle scene and nothing else.
Yes. So the thing about Iron Man 3, I loved Iron Man 3. This podcast was started because we had a group text that was half the people were mocking it, and Steve's and I were like, no, this is a good movie. The problem with Iron Man 3, the only problem with movies have problems, but the problem with it is it came after Avengers. There was nothing that was going to be able to follow that was going to stand up.
Could they have taken a longer break between Avengers and this coming out? Because it was only a year.
Yeah.
But would more time have helped? Could they have put something in between? Or would that have just suffered the same fate? I
think it would have. Honestly, I think they wanted to keep on their schedule so they weren't going to mess with it. They weren't like they were going full bore. Like they had a schedule they wanted to hit. I think the only downfall is that it was coming after them, and it's just like it's just like the comics. Like the comics love this big event, love this huge, massive battle, everyone going at it, and then it's like, okay, now we get to go back to Spider-Man's fighting the Green Goblin. Like sometimes it can be good.
You gotta have some of that. I mean, it can't all be 100% all the time, or else the 100% would feel terrible.
Exactly, and you have to be able to gauge the rest of it against it. So dive in.
They've got. Let me start here. This casting is amazing. Obviously, Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
But you also have Guy Pearce. Yeah. He's great.
Yeah.
In the early going, when he's looking crazy and insane, I didn't really know what to make of it. It reminded me of I don't even know what movie. Was it Strange Days, where everybody just kind of looks disheveled all the time?
Right.
And I thought that's what we were in for, was just kind of crazy mad scientist guy. But when he comes back, he's looking fit. He's cleaned up nicely.
Right.
It was like he went on Queer Eye. He got cleaned up.
They gave him and maybe some steroids.
just a few. But also Ben Kingsley. Gandhi himself is in this movie.
Exactly. Gandhi which I know this is it's already started in the chat, which, by the way, hello chat room. Everyone keep it civil, because the biggest issue people have is Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin, because everyone loves the Mandarin from the comics, and we think we have this comic book accurate villain, and it turns out he's just an actor playing an actor. So, queer eye for the nerd guy. Thank you, son of Mander.
That's good. So let me talk to you about the Mandarin, because this is something I didn't understand. So in the movie, the Mandarin is just a front for Guy Pearce's evil plan.
Right.
To just he literally is just, it's just window dressing. Everything's faked. What is he in the comics? Is that anywhere in the comics?
No. They completely changed his origin for the movie.
Is Killian in the comics?
Yes. Killian is in the comics. They're not really associated with each other.
Just mashed them together.
They mashed them together, and in my opinion, I mean, I liked it, but in the comics, he's the leader of this organization. He has magical rings that give him power. So, because they mentioned the 10 rings, that he was the leader of the 10 rings. It's because he has these 10 like magical rings. Like
that's as far as it goes.
So in the comics, he's a super villain. He's not just he's not just like I'm a terrorist or I lead terrorists. He's got magic, and he's also leading a bunch of bad guys.
Okay, so does it in that sense he feels wasted, like, because you can't now make an Iron Man movie and say, hey, we're doing the Mandarin. And you're like, but we already saw it, or could we? Exactly.
So people think that they wasted the villain, but there is a short. They have the little featurettes.
Mm-hmm.
There was the one called the Consultant, where they refer to Tony Stark being the consultant for S.H.I.E.L.D. So they did these to kind of bridge the story in between.
Also, probably a bit of retcon as things happen.
Exactly, because they're like, "Hey, crap, we're setting up for 10 years. Like, we need to be able to cover our butts." So what they did was they actually had a short thing called "Hail to the Chief" or "Hail to the King," where it's featuring it's Bill Kingsley in prison, and he's living large because he's the Mandarin. Everyone thinks he's the Mandarin, but then he gets confronted by the actual Mandarin. So they kind of hinted at the fact that there might be a real Mandarin. He might be in prison, and they might be able to come back. Except for the fact that we have no idea if Robert Downey Jr. is going to even do any more movies.
I think he's done. Especially done if they kill him.
We'll see who they murder in
they get to play the
April.
Mandarin. They could get what's his.
I mean, we already had suggestions there. Donnie Chen. Someone suggested Donnie Chen.
Ken Jeong from Community.
I think he would be a
good.
great Mandarin.
He already practiced for it with his role in The Hangover. He just take that up a level.
Right. No, I think that would be great, because he would everyone would be like, oh, well, Bill Kingsley wasn't, he wasn't actually the villain, and now you have the actual villain, and it's just this tiny man who would sound like the bad guy from Big Trouble in Little China. They'd be like, Mr. Button, shut up, Mr. Button. Like, I think that would be fantastic.
There's some weird stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
Tony going rogue. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Playing detective in the small town, not being recognized, not that believable, considering in the last movie he's on stage at Stark Expo, and he's extremely well known. He's on TV saying, I am Iron Man, and then he can just walk through a small town, and everyone's like, that's just
it's because they don't have TV.
And it's a small town where conceivably people know each other, and they're like, oh, new guy in town who looks exactly like the richest man in the world. I'm fine with this.
They don't watch the liberal media.
Yeah. I did like the Adam Pally cameo.
Yeah.
In the news truck.
Yeah.
And then the creepy Tony Stark tattoo.
It was done from a drawing of you that I made with a facial point.
Yeah. Let me skip. We're gonna skip ahead here. It does get a little jokey in the final towards the as we get towards the end.
Yeah.
I feel like they had it going there. Like, we don't have enough light moments because it's pretty overall is a dark story, and you haven't gotten the full reveal of the Mandarin, and so they just start like cracking jokes. I think they hired a comic to come in and just like pop in 3 jokes here and there, and it just feels a little forced.
It's true. It was. It seemed like the whole time, because like one of the scenes that's like the scariest is when he has that dream about the aliens from Avengers, and then when he wakes up, Gwyneth Paltrow, she wakes him up, and then the Iron Man suit like attacks her because it's on defense mode.
Yeah. I
was like, wow, this is gonna be like dark. You know, like this is, and they for a while they're dealing with the anxiety attacks, like the very realistic.
That was. I thought that was good. It was interesting for Stark's.
But then it kind of at the end it was kind of like, all right, he's cool now. He's beaten his anxiety because a little kid is like, you fix things.
Don't you just fix stuff?
Yeah, which was I like that moment where he like told him like, you fix things, you build things, that's what you do. But then to just completely have that just do away with all of his anxiety. At least for the movie, because his anxiety does come back in the next Avengers movie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
It felt a little disjointed, almost like it was two movies.
Yeah, the ending to me, I like the final battle scene, the house party protocol. All those guys come out. It was interesting seeing Tony wielding a pistol.
Yeah,
which was like it caught me. Like I sort of bumped on it where I was like, he's got a gun.
Yeah,
he's got it. He's gonna shoot. And Rhodey, without the suit, he's dealing.
Yeah,
he's just dropping guys, no problem.
Yeah, the whole where they're trying to heat it up to get him out, and then he just punches the guy, and then but they've all got the extremists in them, so it's just like never mind.
Nothing happens. Yeah, it's great. But yes, I like the final scene. I think it works.
Right,
it was entertaining. It was one of those where it was like I was like, I don't know about this, and then 10 minutes later, I've not taken any notes. I've just been watching. Yeah. So I must have been entertained.
And I think especially from a 90s kid perspective, like if you watched the Iron Man cartoon,
I did not.
It was just designed like every other cartoon is to sell toys. Because it's literally like
the commercials are for the toys from the show you're watching.
Exactly. And it's like, this is Iron Man's lava suit. This is his ice suit. This is his space. And you're like going through and you're like, I need all of these. Mom, I need all of these. And in the show, it'd be like every episode was like a new adventure that involved him with a new suit. And it was kind of like that. It's like he's built a suit for everything. It's like he has one that has like the clampers. Like
he's got one that's
super beefy one.
Yeah, the one that's got like the pistons and can like jack the thing up. And
like they all serve a purpose.
That is an oddly specific Iron Man.
Exactly. I thought that was fun for like I said, if you were a kid watching that cartoon, you're like, oh look at they're dealing with the fact that he just built a ridiculous amount of suits.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he blows them all up.
Yep.
Which we knew he was gonna do because the cold open is him blowing up suits.
Exactly. And it was when I first saw it, at the first time when I walked out of theaters, I didn't hear him say basically like I'm gonna get rid of some of my distractions. I thought he was actually I thought that was the end of it. I thought he was done.
I thought he was finishing.
But he
ends by chucking his reactor over his arc reactor
because he doesn't need it anymore because he's basically trying to separate himself from the technology. Like he's trying to basically say like I am Iron Man, but I don't need to be Iron Man.
Some gross.
He doesn't. Yeah, exactly. He puts the reactor in suits. He doesn't need the reactor to live.
Okay, that was my next question. So it's like, okay, so he doesn't have the reactor going forward, though. He still uses Iron Man suits. They just
have them built in.
They're just built into the suit.
Yeah.
It's an all-in-one unit.
Yeah. So it was, and I think, it was kind of confusing at first because the way he did that, I was like, okay, is he going to be just?
I thought he was walking away, except that I already known, but I'm looking at this going, so they made him quit?
But then they do also, in the next couple movies, you don't see him necessarily bust out the whole suit. And it like he in Winter Soldier, which we'll get to, like he just has the glove.
Oh yeah,
so it's almost kind of like he is the consultant,
toying with the idea. Of
he's toying with retirement, and then he's toying with coming back.
Yeah, everybody has an uncle that says like I'm retired and then gets a new job.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ruru got it right with why he destroyed the suits because they were built as distractions for Pepper, and they were just. Well, not named for Pepper. They were built as distractions from his emotions, and they were just completely unnecessary. They were, what happens if I need to do this? What happens if I need to do this? I'm not talking about Civil War. I'm talking about Winter Soldier. It's like the suits were just something to distract him, and then he has to stop, like he has to focus.
Well, and it gets out of hand and it ends up hurting Pepper.
Yeah.
And they buttoned up Pepper real quick by him saying, yeah, I fixed her.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know this thing.
Got taken care of. No problem. Let's go on post-credits scene. We get two.
Yeah.
Oh, no, just one in this one. Tony in therapy. But it's Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner.
And he says, I'm not that kind of doctor.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not my favorite post-credit scene. Oh wait, did I miss Stanley in this?
Did you miss Stanley?
Let me find it. Hold on, going through.
It's like Where's Waldo?
Yeah.
The thing
normally
is,
I circle it.
What I found in all 3 Iron Man movies is he didn't speak. He didn't have speaking roles in all 3 of them. In the first one, he's in the first one he's Hugh Hefner.
Right.
In the second one he's Larry King.
Yep.
And then the third.
And this one, where is he?
I just watched it the other night, and I'm trying to remember where he was.
Do I have it? I don't have it in here. He's got to be in there.
No, he was.
I missed it, or I didn't write it down.
Can you guys stop arguing in the group chat and remind us where Stan Lee was in Iron Man 3?
I feel like he's just like chilling in a bar in the small town, like, because that would make sense. Trucker hat, puffy vest, flannel shirt. That's where I would put him.
Well, apparently they're just going to keep going in the chat and completely ignore it.
I'm going to run some quick numbers here. This movie was made for $200 million, and it made $1.2 billion worldwide, which tells you for this movie, which is not nearly as good as a lot of the other ones. It's not a bad movie. They were riding that Avengers wave really hard, and this movie definitely benefited from that. 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. Feels about right to me. This movie's a solid, it's a B minus in the scheme of Marvel movies. I can put it right about there. I think that's fair. But some people hate this movie, and I think that's unwarranted, especially considering what we get to go to next, which is Thor 2. Thor: The Dark World. November 2013.
Yes. Real fast. Thank you for looking it up. Tim, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us at Silicon Valley Comic Con. The good looking one is right here, you dingus. What do you
there.
I mean, unless you're talking about the Portuguese one, I don't know where he's at. And if you're talking about Amy, I don't know where she's at either. Like, thank you, Ruru, the beauty pageant judge. Yeah, because he has the 10. He has the 10, and he's, like, so excited with it.
That's right.
That's what it was. Anthony's the good-looking one? Yeah, also, Manderson, yeah, he was in it. You dingus. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Dark World 2.
Dark World 2. All right.
Thor 2 Dark World.
All right, I'm gonna start with numbers. This movie made for $150 million. Yeah. Pretty solid budget. Only made $644 million. It's a big drop off, half of what Iron Man 3 made.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes, 66%.
It is the lowest.
That's the lowest in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I think that's probably going to stick.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine Infinity War would have to be pretty crap.
Would have to suck real bad. Hey, whoa, VGB is in the chat room. We're talking about Marvel Phase 2. There's our friend Mickey. He's watched, he's rewatching them, and we're talking about, he has no comic background, so we're giving him the ones and twos. So we know how Ruru thinks.
So I tell you that I saw this movie in the theater. Yeah. I was falling asleep. Yeah. In the theater, for which I've never done before, and I remember just bobbing my head throughout this movie, trying to stay awake, and nothing really grabbed me about it. Watching it a second time, I remembered pretty much all of it, but I also remembered being like, yeah, no, that's all right.
I enjoyed it. I was entertained by it. It is a very weak story. Like, I was entertained by it because I like Thor and I like Marvel movies. Like, so it's like that's the 60% right there. I'm like, it's a Marvel movie, so enjoyed it.
You're automatically halfway there, 50% just for being Marvel.
Exactly. And it was also at a time where we had just come out of phase 1, so it's like we weren't still sure yet like how much more Marvel we were going to get. Now it's like it's a foregone conclusion. Now it's like, okay, like and we've had such great things since then that it just keeps piling on to how weak of a story it was.
On coming.
Yeah.
The hits just keep coming. Cast is solid. Yep. I mean, we get pretty much everybody back from the first one, including Natalie Portman. We also get Christopher Eccleston, who
the Ninth Doctor.
Let me tell you this: I think on Doctor Who, I think he's fine.
Yeah,
I think he's good.
Yeah,
he apparently, we've talked about this before. Yeah. He hated working on this film.
Yeah,
he hated every minute of it. and it shows.
But what did he like? Was it Mission Impossible or G.I.
Gone
Joe?
in 60 Seconds. He loved
Gone in 60 Seconds. That's what it was.
He said Cage is just the ultimate professional and an amazing actor.
Yeah.
And loved working with him. He hated working on this movie.
Yeah.
Every part of it. And then he talked so much crap about this movie the entire time after the press tour. I guess he was good on the press tour.
Yeah.
But once it was out and released, he was like, no, I did not enjoy myself at all on that. Which I think shows, but then again, his character's not that great.
No, it was that is again one of those, like, sometimes Marvel just takes a villain and then they squander it.
So talk to me about Dark Elves.
Yeah. So in Norse mythology, there are, just like in a lot of other, mythos, there are different races. There are elves, there are light elves, there are wood elves, there are dark elves, there are giants, ice giants, fire giants, Asgardians, who are gods, basically. And so the dark elves are just that. They're just evil elves who live on Svartalfheim. Yeah, Svartalfheim, as opposed to Alfheim, where the light elves are. So it's but the dark elves are basically just a permanent enemy to Asgard, and
I could have used a little more explanation of their motivation. The stakes felt low.
Yeah, they just wanted
there.
They just wanted to destroy everything because they wanted it to be dark.
It just felt like, imagine a Bond movie, a James Bond movie, because I talk about James Bond because I love James Bond, and a lot of there's a lot of parallels. Let me tell you. But like, imagine there's just a bunch of henchmen, and you don't know why they're they're doing. They just walk up and start trying to kill James Bond. And you're like, you just don't like the guy, or you're just like, this is what we do.
Yeah,
like,
in the comics, Malekith usually has a plot. He usually has a scheme. And in this one, it was just the Dark Elves wanted to return it to dark. It was really.
It was just kind of a fish gotta swim.
It was
elves gotta make dark.
Exactly. It was a vessel. It was a vessel to begin the thought process of the Infinity Stones, because this movie is the first time the Infinity Stones or Infinity Gems are actually mentioned.
Yeah, it's the first time that they name them. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
so
it's
like
oh.
So that's why it's in a way it's one of the most important movies, because they didn't do it anywhere else yet. It's like they explained. Like Odin explained what the Infinity Gems are and how the ether is the only one that's not a physical stone. It's a liquid.
Yeah, that might be the most important part of the movie, not in its story, but for the Marvel universe overall.
Yeah. It's like, we could deal without the Dark Elves.
Could have made a sweet short film.
Yeah,
about
they really could have. It could have just been one of those little blurbs where it's like just like Odin just like reading a book to baby Thor about the Infinity Stones, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. So I'm gonna jump way forward here, because we can skip a lot of this movie. Yeah. There was a scene I really liked where Loki is shape-shifting and he goes on as Captain America. Yeah. I got a good laugh out of that. I enjoyed that. They just focus on the enemy. I can't read all of this.
Yeah. there's a lot of conversations.
Enough reading in college, all right? We're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
Let's see. They do Loki does his classic move with the Dark Elves where he says, "This is me. It's not me. I'm actually standing over here."
Exactly.
It's a good trick. It works every time. Works every time.
and then there's the Steves as the Capeless Crusaders.
I like that.
Yeah.
You do a whole movie of that. The boss fight in the end, it just kind of, it's okay. It didn't grab me at all. No. Just kind of like, oh, hey, here we're fighting, and it's over.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah. It was, this whole, like the realms lining up and everything. It was...
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Portal. Like a video game Portal. Yeah, they sort of, like...
Yeah, it was...
Jump through.
Yeah, and... Yeah, it wasn't...
It's not. At the end, we get there's kind of a fun, it's a good Loki moment where Thor kind of, he's talking to, he thinks Odin, and he's saying like, hey, I'm not going to be king. I'm abdicating.
Yeah.
And then Loki
now he's
Loki's sitting there and he's all, "What's up, guys?"
Right.
That was a good moment.
Yeah.
It was a good way to finish.
Which
strong.
Which sets up Ragnarok.
Well, we're not there. I have not seen
Ragnarok. You haven't?
I thought Ragnarok is going to be a fresh watch for me.
Fantastic.
I'm really excited about it.
Well, spoiler, Loki's in it.
Well, I was going to be disappointed if he wasn't. So, post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
We meet the Collector, Benicio del Toro, looking crazy. Love it.
Yeah.
He says he talks about it. Infinity Stones, and then he's got the ether. And they say it's unwise to keep two together.
Right.
And then what does he do? He looks right into the camera and he says, "Only 5 more to go."
Exactly.
Which is good. I liked it. I think it. It's like it's a good setup to like not just what we're gonna get next, but what we know. There's a long-term plan, and this is gonna factor into it.
Yeah, they said that.
And then a second post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jane is in London. That's about it.
Yeah, Thor shows up, they kiss, and then you see the ice monster.
Oh, that's right. The ice monster
just the birds.
Just kind of goofing around.
Yeah, it was just kind of fun.
That's funny. It's good.
Yeah.
And then we get Thor will return.
Yeah.
Not specifically in what.
No.
That was interesting in Iron Man 3. It doesn't say Iron Man will return.
Yeah.
It says Tony Stark will return.
I think they really wanted to let everyone know. They're like, hey, Thor is definitely coming back despite how awful this movie is. You're going to think. Despite how bad you think this movie is.
It's going to be all right.
Yeah. I mean, I still, like, we just rewatched it recently, and I forgot that I did enjoy. We're not there yet, you Portuguese.
He saw me turn the page, and he knew what was coming.
Anyway.
It's actually just a doodle of the Steve's dancing. It's just
Portugal. But yeah, I enjoyed Thor: Dark World more than I feel like 60% of the people did. So
yeah, I will say this: I saw it in the theaters. It was not memorable. It was fine. Watching it again, I was like, I get it.
Yeah,
it's fine. It doesn't make me mad. I've seen movies where I'm like, I can't believe I'm still sitting through this. Or I didn't turn it off. I was entertained enough.
Right.
It was good. So I'm good. Take it easy on the Portuguese.
Apparently, Manderson figured out he's part Portuguese.
Oh, well.
So.
Welcome to the club. I'm not in the club. Go have a club.
Yeah, enjoy.
Start a club. Captain America Winter Soldier. I thought this was my first time seeing it. But then as I started watching it, I realized that I had seen part of it and never finished it.
Steve's going to have a heart attack.
Yeah, he's going to die. He's going to freak out. So we're going to call this my first time seeing it.
Okay.
This movie was great.
Yes.
I loved it. Top to bottom.
Yes.
89% on Rotten Tomatoes. I could easily go higher.
Yes.
I really enjoyed this. They made this for $170 million. It made $714 million. I was shocked it wasn't more because this movie was great.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good. We get right in the cold open. DC running, or in Washington, D.C., Cap is running against, we don't know who he is yet.
Right.
We'll soon find out. On your left.
On your left.
On your left. Great scene.
On your left.
It's just like, it starts so strong.
Yeah.
I'm loving this movie, like, from the beginning. And I don't know, again, not a comics fan.
Right.
But also not, like, from watching the movies, the first Captain America movie's fine. It's a good movie. But I wasn't like, Captain America's my favorite.
Right.
Watching this movie, I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah.
From the beginning. I'm loving a Captain America movie.
Yeah. I think there's...
The problem is... I liked it?
No, I think he's disappointed that you thought you'd seen it before. And
that I fell asleep in it once?
Yeah. And it's...
I'm not cool. I'm not...
I think you're cool, maybe.
If I put a movie on the couch and the lights are off, the odds are good I'm falling asleep.
Yeah.
At this point, when this movie was out, I had a 2-month-old baby.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So I was not going to be awake very long, no matter when I saw this. And I didn't see it in the theater. So give me like a little leeway on that. The movie jumps locations a lot.
Yeah.
As far as the setup goes, they go DC, Indian Ocean, totally works.
Yeah.
It's just, it feels like they're taking us on a journey, assembling this sort of like something good's coming. This movie works so well.
Yeah.
On all levels. I can't praise it enough. When we see Nick Fury, this is one thing I love. He says, the last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye.
Mm.
What? Are we going to get that story in the movies?
We think we're going to get it in Captain Marvel.
Do you know this story? Hook me up.
Yeah, I mean, a grenade blew up in his face,
and that had something to do with trusting someone.
So the way they're doing this, we don't know the way they're doing it in the way there's just too much going on in the chat sometimes.
I like it.
But yeah, they have not explained yet in the movies how it happened, but Captain Marvel is supposed to take place in the 90s. And we're going to see young Nick Fury, young...
Is somebody playing a young Nick Fury in that? Do we know?
At this point, it's still Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, he can play whatever he wants.
Exactly. Clark Gregg is going to come back as Agent Coulson, young Agent Coulson.
Love me some Agent Coulson.
2 characters from Guardians of the Galaxy are going to return because it's going to involve the aliens, the Kree. So the big thing is that it seems like he's probably going to have 2 eyes, and we're going to figure out, hopefully, what happens. I think he's going to lose his eye in Captain Marvel.
I like it. I mean, I don't like people losing eyes, but
yeah,
I'm liking that we're going to get this. But yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, somebody please tell me. Yeah. I guess I'll have to wait. Let's see. Captain Incognito. Yeah. I kind of like that. Little hat and glasses.
that is the incognito of the Marvel universe. Like when Tony is doing that. Like
in one of the movies, I want one of them to just put on those Groucho Marx glasses with the nose and mustache.
Like sitting there like,
yeah, and people be like, well, he's clearly just a normal human being, like not a superhero. I'm moving on. This movie's too good.
It was so. The thing is, a lot of the movies, sometimes they have a comic that they're based on, sometimes they don't. So the thing about the Winter Soldier is it's based on Ed Brubaker's Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which is one of the greatest Captain America stories ever told, and they were just truthful, just true enough to it to be perfect. Like they had to make changes, obviously.
They probably do a little work to fit it into the overall story, the cinematic universe story.
Exactly, and then but the cool thing is Ed Brubaker. A little fun fact: Ed Brubaker, the writer of the Winter Soldier, the comic, is actually scientist number 2. When they are wiping Bucky's memory,
yeah,
he's the bald scientist. That's the writer.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's just a little
throw him a little cameo. I like that.
Yeah.
That's good. This cast,
yeah,
Robert freaking Redford.
Oh yeah,
I didn't see it coming.
No,
and I was so excited. He is one of my all-time favorite actors, and he's great.
He's perfect.
He's great. He plays this great. As far as his character,
yeah.
How's the casting? Does it match the comic?
I actually can't remember if he. It's a really good question.
Because I tell you, he plays it great.
Right. Keep talking.
The whole council setup thing they got going. It's a good mechanic. It works really well. It gives you kind of a sense of that sort of like, now that the Avengers are playing, they got to play politics more than ever before. We got a little taste of it in the Avengers,
right?
But with this and the oversight they're getting, I like it. It's one more thing for Fury to deal with. It adds a layer to it.
Right,
it works. To go into an Apple store, only minor triggers.
Oh, duh! I'm an idiot. Yes, Alexander Pierce. He was in Nick Fury versus S.H.I.E.L.D. from the 80s, which I have it up here, where basically Nick Fury, agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., faces off with S.H.I.E.L.D. Continue. He turns on him in a similar fashion.
Oh, so it's pretty close. They kind of meld those nicely.
They melded those two, yeah.
That's good. I like when they go down to... He chased him down to the original S.H.I.E.L.D. office,
right,
with all the tape
at the military base that he was trained at.
Yes.
It felt like when she saw that and she's like, I don't know what's there, and he's like, I do, and you're just like, it's just the intrigue, and then even the fact that he knows what building to go into because what is it, munitions bunker, and you're not supposed to store munitions within a certain amount
he's that building's out of place. He knows the regulation.
Right,
it's the most
too close to the
America
barracks
thing there is
Seriously.
To know that.
Yeah, to have it memorized.
He likes
backwards
rules.
And forward.
He loves a good rule, and that's when they were breaking it. He figures it out. I think this is great. The AI on tape computers. It's a cool scene. It's creepy with
Yeah.
the voice. His voice reminded me of the sound of Daleks in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just me making that connection, or if they did it as an homage.
The way they like taped his entire brain basically, and like all his computers, it was crazy.
What's really funny is I watched this at the same time as I was watching breaking news, like the same day as I was watching breaking news on Facebook and Cambridge Analytica, and they're talking about like, oh, we have all this data on all these people, we can predict what you're gonna do, and I was like, Nostradamus writes Marvel movies.
This is scary. Well, so the thing, the problem, well, the good thing and the bad thing, with the way they did Zola. So, when you first see him in the first Captain America movie, he's like looking through that screen, so it looks like his face is in a little screen. Mm-hmm. The whole thing is because Arnim Zola is a disembodied, basically digital head in a robot.
Like Krang.
Exactly. Either Krang or he's either up top or he's in the chest. I don't know why he goes back and forth between the two. But he's
sometimes
like both.
You feel like a head, sometimes you don't.
So he was a Hydra scientist in World War II who basically preserved himself. So in this way they did that, but instead had him on all these data banks, which made it like a little more not realistic, but just a little bit more feasible.
It is a little more realistic. It's a little less. I mean, it's more sci-fi to have a robot with like a human consciousness on a screen.
Yeah.
This way, it's sci-fi, but it's not so much. It's not such a leap. It's a little easier to suspend disbelief, especially. Just I want to get out. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. Oh my gosh, he's a gun jumper.
That's what he does. That's what he does.
Yeah, I think it's a little easier to suspend disbelief because it's a little closer to kind of what we expect. I mean, in this, like, now, what do we think AI is?
Right.
It's a server room somewhere.
Right.
All right, you ready? Yeah, let's do the elevator scene.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It reminded me of and maybe I think did Daredevil come before or after this? The Daredevil show. It reminded me of the hallway scene in Daredevil, where it was just, it's shot really well. They play with camera angles. The fight choreography is really fun.
Yeah.
And there's a genuine sense that he's not going to get out of there. You don't think he's going to die because he's Captain friggin' America, but you're like, how are they going to figure this out? I love that scene. And then we also get like that car assault with Fury when his car when the cops come in.
Yeah,
that's a great scene. I like that the car has the perfect amount of countermeasures. I felt like they did kind of work backwards in that way. They were like, okay, what can we put in a car? All right, how can we make the assault match that?
Right.
But I didn't care. It's so good. Him trying to get out of there.
Yeah, that whole setup with the cops. You want to see my lease?
Yeah, it was really good. Tiny social commentary.
Yeah,
we get it in pieces until we get to Black Panther. Then we get a lot of it.
Yeah.
I like Robin Scherbatsky to the rescue.
Yeah.
She's always there.
As Maria Hill.
No, she's always Robin Scherbatsky. She's just. They should change the character's name.
Yeah.
Then another flashback to young Steve Rogers.
Right.
The CGI, the face replacement, he just looks like Corey Feldman to me in that scene. Everybody go back and watch. He looks like Corey Feldman.
And I'm going to rewatch it, and I'm going to text you and be like, son of a...
He looks like Corey Feldman.
I hate you.
But right after that scene, we get to play Spot Stanley.
Right.
Where is he?
Stanley in Winter Soldier. Oh, where was he in Winter Soldier? I can't remember.
He's in the Smithsonian.
Oh, yeah.
He's a security guard.
Yeah, he's a security guard after he steals the suit. Because he steals the old school suit.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks...
and he's like, I'm so fired.
Yeah. It's good. And you got a line. You get a line in this one.
Yeah,
he's got to get paid.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's hurting right now.
He needs that money.
If you're reading all these stories about him, who knows what's happening.
They show the security team. We get Abed from Community as one of the security guards, or the I don't know what... He's not really a security guard.
Right.
He's a screen lackey. I don't know what you'd call him.
Screen lackey.
He's a screen jockey. Works.
Yeah.
That's what Captain America gives a great speech. It's a classic Captain speech, and he nails it. Chris Evans, you're killing it.
The way the still loyal members of S.H.I.E.L.D. fight back against the Hydra, it's dope. They're obviously incredibly outnumbered. Like, it sucks. It's like you're sad because you're like, oh, they're fighting back, and then all of a sudden, like,
they're just getting
gun.
Yeah.
Like when they're trying to when they're hearing the speech and those guys are standing at the gunship, like they're like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna fight for Captain America, and then they get gunned down. Like
they get housed.
Yeah,
like
the dudes that get like blown up on like the tarmac. Like everyone's trying to mobilize because if you're gonna mobilize for anyone, it's Captain America.
Captain America after a rousing speech.
Yeah, but then you've been also been infiltrated for 40, 50 years.
Yeah, it doesn't go the way they planned.
Not at all. 60 years.
So let's see. We got final battle. Amazing. Captain America against Bucky.
Yeah.
You like that scene?
Oh yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's heart wrenching. The any of the fight scenes with Bucky were great. Like the when they first encounter him on like the street and they go like toe to toe before he rips the mask off and realizes who he is, and then this one too, like the way they're doing it with the when they're like even like the choreography, like when they're like blocking, and then he has the knife and he lets go of it and he catches it and he goes, or when when he's like trying to stab him and then all of a sudden you hear the arm like activate, like and it like saws in, like everything about it was just so incredibly well done.
So tell me, really, let's go back. Let's talk about Bucky. So Captain America, he falls off a train.
Yes, gets his arm blown off.
He falls off the train. In this, we see him. He's got the metal arm,
right?
And I'm not remembering right now. I don't think we don't get a backstory. We don't get backstory except Captain saying something about him being experimented on.
Exactly. So
that's all they're going to give us.
When he breaks him out of the Hydra facility, it's basically assumed that Zola was doing experiments on Bucky because his whole thing is he's
some kind of super soldier serum.
Exactly. They're still trying to recreate the super soldier serum, which is why he's able to survive, which is what makes him got the heightened senses, and then he's faster and stronger. And the metal arm is just basically to accentuate that because he loses it in the fall.
Because he loses it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cool. It's I just didn't understand it because I'm like, how is he still alive?
Yeah.
But they give you
they do a better job of explaining because in the comics it's just kind of like he was frozen and then they're like, oh, he might have had this like infinity thing, like he might have had like there's lots of random potions, concoctions, retcons. They're like, this is how he's alive. No, this is how he's alive.
Yeah. And then they fake Nick Fury's death, and he gets to visit his own grave, which not a lot of people get to do.
It's true.
Steve's, I need your help here. All right. Fury's gravestone says, in quotes, "The path of the righteous man," and that thing. Is that what Samuel L. Jackson says in that one movie with in Pulp Fiction?
Pulp Fiction?
Is that his quote in Pulp Fiction? I could have looked it up, but Google's hard.
No, we don't Google in here as we have a browser everywhere around us. That's an interesting one. I'm not sure. Let's see if Steve's can verify that.
While he looks that up, then we'll finish with Rogers gets Bucky's file.
Pulp Fiction. No,
boom, nailed it
on it.
See, I got stuff.
Yeah, you know your resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he gets the file.
He gets Bucky's file.
Yeah.
Are we going to see that come back?
Mm-hmm.
Is he just going to get?
Well, so
let's get some info just for himself.
Yeah, it's kind of they mention it because we'll talk about it in a little bit in Age of Ultron when he's talking to Sam and he's basically like following these dead ends because they're trying to track him down. They're trying to find out like Hydra holdouts or where he might be returning to or what happened to him so that they can.
So he's just piecing it together.
Exactly.
All right. Post credits, we see a guy with Loki's Loki's staff from Avengers,
mm-hmm.
or is that just Loki's staff? I don't know what.
Yeah.
And then we see the two kids in the cages, and they call them the twins.
Yeah.
Knowing nothing about comics, confused me completely.
Yeah.
I had no idea what's going on.
Yeah. I was like,
explain it to me.
So, this is one of those things that's it's difficult. Because the fact that Marvel sold off the rights to so many of their properties makes this really tough.
This is an X-Men issue, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So Wanda and Pietro Maximoff are the children of one Magneto. But they have also been longtime Avengers. So Marvel could put them in the Avengers. They just can't say that they're mutants.
Can they say, and they can't say they're Magneto's kids?
Nope. So they can
they
just
can't say Magneto and they can't say mutants.
So they can say their names. They can say they're Wanda and Pietro Maximoff. They put them from the country that Ultron takes place in, and they're created.
They call them enhanced
Exactly. So they use the staff to unlock their potential, and which is what gives them their powers. So basically, they had to figure out a creative way of bringing them in because they were really important characters, until you gun down one of them.
Spoilers.
What? and then it's so they I thought that was kind of ham-fisted the way they did that, but because of the way the rights to the films work, they had to do it.
Yeah. So the end of this is really for those of us who did not know anything about the comics. We're just like, well, I guess that's a thing. Yeah. We'll see in 3 years or however long it takes.
Yeah. It's like, hey, well, I'm really looking forward to this explanation.
Post-credit scene number 2. Bucky goes incognito mode. Hat at the Smithsonian. Hat.
Kelly, thank you for the follow.
And he's just checking things out. He's piecing it together as well.
Yeah.
And he's going to bump into Stanley.
So now he's trying, because he basically, since his brain has not been scrambled since Steve basically was like, I'm with you till the end of the line. And so since that triggered
like, whoa,
such a strong emotional response.
Memories.
Exactly. He's now that his brain has not been put back in a blender, he's going to try to find out his past.
Since they didn't wipe him this time.
Exactly.
All right. Captain America will return in Avengers Age of Ultron. Right. So they're telling us when he's coming back and they're putting a name to it.
You didn't talk about Sam Wilson at all.
We haven't gotten there yet because I have thoughts.
Okay.
And it's simply this. They told us his name.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
And he's there. He's great. Anthony Mackie, right? Mm-hmm. He's played really well. Throughout the movie, I'm not sure that they knew what they wanted to do with him.
Okay.
But they knew he was going to be important.
Right.
So they wrote him really well. And they just like, okay. But he has no special abilities. He has a suit.
Exactly. So he is the longtime friend of Captain America. He is the Falcon. In the comics, so there's the Marvel universe for a long time was split into 2 big universes. The standard Marvel universe and the Ultimate Universe. The Ultimate Universe was basically a version started by some more adult, darker writers, and they basically were given the go-ahead to write whatever stories they wanted. So they were able to make big changes to character stories, but that's also where we got a lot more of the down-to-earth realistic versions. So which is why some people are very upset by the way the costumes look, because like that's not the way it looks in the comics. It's the way it looks in the Ultimate Comics. In the Ultimate Comics, they're much more like military, pouches, black leather, because that's what you would actually have.
The movie is kind of a melding of those 2 universes.
Exactly. They pick what they need. So Falcon in this universe he's from the Ultimate Universe, where he's got like, it's like a jetpack, he's got goggles. Like in the original comics, he's got a bird costume. Like it's like a white, it's like a red and
bird
white
costume.
I'm gonna look it up for you real fast while I'm still talking. But it's a bird costume, and his whole thing is that 1, he can fly, but 2, he can communicate telepathically with birds. So he has the little like robot. He has it called Red Wing.
Red Wing.
In the comics, he has a bird named Red Wing that is like his faithful assistant.
Okay.
And so
that's in the original universe.
Exactly. And when his powers, like, they write his powers differently. When they beef up his powers, he's able to like communicate with like all the birds in a city. So he's able to like track a criminal across the whole city. So they didn't want to go with the bird suit.
Yep, that's a bird suit.
Yeah.
It's not a terrible
It's not a terrible bird suit at all. But
I'm getting yelled at for my.
I think it was because you were questioning
whether they knew what they wanted to do with it.
Yeah, and then there's a Steve's like, oh, I like the movie version.
He likes the movie version of everything.
Yeah, he does. He likes movies
just because he can't read.
Yeah, Vance just doesn't like Sebastian Stan. But yeah, so the Falcon was they had to get him in there because he was gonna be. He's going to be a long-term character, possibly outliving some other.
And going forward, I think he's great.
Yeah.
And in this, he's not bad. He's like I said, he's written well. He's acted extremely well.
Yeah.
It just sort of felt like I don't 100% know why he's here right.
Right. At first, he's the guy to hide with.
Yeah, and he doesn't take away from the movie at all.
Yeah.
But it was like, it kind of felt like, are we doing a sidekick situation here, or are we not doing a sidekick situation?
Yeah.
Going forward, as we watch him, we find out he's not just a sidekick. I'm totally on board.
Yeah.
So I like it. That, to this point, it's a toss-up between the Avengers and Winter Soldier for my favorite Marvel movie.
And that's typical for most people. Winter Soldier for a long time. Winter Soldier is still Steve's favorite, I believe. It's in the top 3 for me still. I also it's getting kind of the point where I'm like, you know what? I
need to keep ranking?
Exactly. I do the same thing that Phil Jimenez does with Star Wars movies. My favorite Star Wars movie is whatever Star Wars movie I'm watching at that moment, and the rest of them aren't.
Except for The Phantom Menace.
And when I watched that VHS tape into the ground, I melted it when I was a kid.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
Lucky us. There's one less copy of it around.
Fair enough.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ah.
I did not see this in the theater.
Yeah.
I saw it when it came out. I went, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Never heard of Guardians of the Galaxy. I think I was in the majority here.
Right.
We did not know
it was a gamble.
I didn't know who Guardians of the Galaxy were. I knew who Chris Pratt was, and they were like, "Oh, Chris Pratt's in a Marvel movie," and then they said Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like, "What the hell is that? What is Guardians of the Galaxy?" I didn't know what to expect from this when I saw it. I didn't see it. I didn't see the theater, but when everybody said, "It's great, you gotta watch it," and I watched it, and I was blown away by this movie.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Guardians of the Galaxy.
So the Guardians of the Galaxy originally were a completely different team, set in the far future. Yondu, who is basically like this, pirate-esque character. He was Yondu the Archer. He was a good guy. He was 100% a hero. Vance Astro. Yes, Vance Astro is the leader of the Guardians. He is kind of like a Flash Gordon style. Like he's like an Air Force pilot who basically gets like put in suspended animation, and then he also gets some superpowers. And then for some reason he has Captain America's shield.
Flash Gordon meets the greatest American hero.
Exactly, and then he has the Captain America shield because it's like a monument to heroes, and he has
a Captain America shield.
He has it because he like steals it from a museum or something. And there was some other. They actually, when you see Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we can talk about it, but they introduce some of those characters later on. So they kind of reference that they exist still in this universe. But yeah, the original Guardians were far in the future, and then Star-Lord, who is Chris Pratt's character, was his own. He was legendary. He was a legendary Star-Lord. He was his own hero, separate from the Guardians of the Galaxy, but also was out in outer space. And it went away for a long time. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy, the story, the book just kind of.
Was this a popular book
at the time? It was in the 70s and 80s. It was. Then it went away. Then it had a big resurgence around 2006, 2007. There was a story called Annihilation. And in Annihilation, which is that people think they might actually be going this way, I'm going to briefly try to run down, which I don't do well because I just like to talk. So,
can we put you on a timer?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, give me like 30 seconds. So the Annihilation story revolved around this being known as Annihilus, who has this species of bugs that eat everything and destroy everything, and they come from the negative zone. They break through into our universe, shatter through the kiln, which is the prison that they reference in Guardians of the Galaxy, but in the Marvel universe, it holds like super powerful beings, like celestial beings. So they break through that, put the story hands away and make it short. That's hard for me. They break through that, and they basically, this Annihilation waves just starts carving a swath across the universe, destroying everything in its path. And there's a unified front between all these different aliens, and the Guardians of the Galaxy are at the front of that. They're not the Guardians of the time. They're just Star-Lord, who's just this random pirate who is fighting and defending, and he meets Drax the Destroyer. Drax, the original character, was a human who his family was killed, and then he was transformed by Thanos, and he hates Thanos. And so basically they took these characters from all over the place. Gamora, who was also in the original Infinity, brought it all together. Shut up, Steve's 45 seconds. They brought it all together, and they formed this new team around 06, 07, those Guardians of the Galaxy. That was Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Groot, Rocket, Mantis, and so roughly the people we have on screen.
Was there a version of the book that was written between its original popularity and its resurgence, or did they just sort of they went away from it and somebody decided, hey, we should resurrect this, and wrote this story in the mid-2000s?
It randomly came back here and there. They would randomly be like, hey, we're gonna do another Guardian story as like a one-off, or hey, we need to bring these,
and it never really picked up the steam it needed.
Exactly.
Commercially.
Or it was planned to be a one and done.
Okay.
So they kept popping up, but they have not had this sustained success that they had until that started. What are you guys yelling about in there? Anyway.
They're looking at stuff on the wall.
Oh. Anyway. Thanks, Vance. Way to derail that by pointing out stuff. Yeah. But yeah,
you're only making the story longer, guys.
And then since 2007 now, we've had sustained fantastic Guardians of the Galaxy books. And then, of course, the movie just blew it up even more.
Yeah. This movie's great.
Yeah, it is.
Can we talk about this cast?
Yeah.
Chris Pratt.
Yep.
Who? Okay. Go through the Guardians for me,
okay,
and we'll go through their casting. You tell me how it lines up.
Star-Lord, Chris Pratt. The original character, not well at all. The 2007,
yeah.
But of course now they have since started writing,
moving the book that direction.
Now they write the book to fit the character.
He's Chris Pratt. He's lovable.
Exactly.
And he's good in this. He's really good.
They kind of took him that way, the lovable kind of pirate direction, and then they just made it a little bit more, even more, fluffy, I guess.
Fluffy's a good word, yeah. I think.
Drax.
Dave Bautista. I'd never seen this guy before.
Yeah.
Was he an MMA fighter or a wrestler?
Professional wrestler, and he had a small MMA career. Like I think he had 1 or 2 fights. I think he lost. But he was a professional wrestler.
He wins my heart.
Yeah. He does for a lot of people. So I thought he was good. The whole like being very literal thing was something they did for the movie.
Strictly for the movie, it works.
Yeah, it's great. Funny, it's hilarious, and it's now again kind of gone over to the books a little bit, and it helped, and I like it.
We're good.
Drax, Gamora, perfect. Zoe Saldana.
Has she ever been bad in anything? She's
no.
Great. Has she ever gotten to have a human skin tone in anything? You want to dip this girl in paint, she's gonna nail that part every time.
The only Star Trek is the only time she's been not painted.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she was. What am I looking for? She was great. She fits the whole like daughter of Thanos. I'm an assassin kind of a thing.
It works. Groot is Vin Diesel. I mean, just his voice. They didn't mocap him.
Yeah.
They just used his voice. They did motion capture for the character, as I understand it, but it wasn't Vin Diesel, apparently.
Right.
That seems like a lot of money for somebody to just say, I am Groot in a lot of different ways.
It was perfect.
It works.
Yeah.
It's good. Bradley Cooper as Rocket.
That I still can't hear. When I hear it,
have a hard time.
I love the voice. I do not hear. Can we just stop listing Zoe Saldana films? He made a joke about the body paint. You guys are ridiculous. But yeah, I still to this day like. I don't think it's Bradley Cooper. I think it's a lie. I think they got someone else. Because I don't hear Bradley.
What if it was a guy named Bradley Cooper?
Just not the famous Bradley. Because I've never heard him talk in any role that he is that doesn't sound like that.
The only thing that's going to convince you is you'll have to meet Bradley Cooper in person, and say do the voice, and have to do the voice.
Or just give me like a
I have a surprise for you. Come on in. Nobody?
Or just give me the DVD Cooper extra where they just have him in the booth and I can just see him.
That can be faked. It's so easy. Movie magic. They fake the moon landing, they can fake that.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think they faked the moon landing. Let's just clear that up right
now. Get that out of here. I'll delete that from the YouTube video.
We can go deep on this. The cold open with the mom dying. It's because I have kids, but when the kid is, I cried.
Yeah,
I cried like a baby.
Yeah, I have a mom and a heart, so I cried.
I don't have those. I have a mom, I have a heart, but the first time I saw it, I didn't. I felt it. This time, cried. And listen, I had a kid the first time, but it didn't hit me as hard. I was also probably pretty sleep deprived in the fall of 2014. So,
so you were just a wreck.
I had no idea what's going on. And then the kid gets abducted by aliens. Sweet.
Just at the gate.
It's a quick turn from this really emotional scene to like boop, up the ship. And then we go right to 26 years later, and we get to see Star-Lord doing his thing. I love the original Sony Walkman and the soundtrack. It's very Tarantino, this movie, where the soundtrack is good, but it's not a perfect fit for what you're seeing. Right. You know, he's walking around on the planet. It should be orchestral score. It should be Hans Zimmer, but he's ding 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 ding. He's bopping away. Yeah,
which is great.
But it's great. Like I said, it's like Tarantino.
The fact that the music drives so much of the story and his experience.
Yeah, and you get, what is it called? Awesome Mix Volume 1.
Yeah,
fantastic. Exactly. And they're even, you don't know it yet, but they're setting you up so hard with the Volume 1. Yeah, you don't even get I mean, I'm sure somebody smarter than me picked it up.
So it's like, hey, there's going to be Volume 2. That makes sense.
Gamora has a sister, Nebula. Mm-hmm. Not her sister? Yes, her sister. Kind of her sister.
Adopted sister.
Tell me more about them.
So,
and they say Thanos is their dad, and he says, no, he's not my dad.
So Thanos likes to, basically, like when he slaughters entire planets, he likes to he's taken random... it's
like a trophy.
Kind of
serial killer's trophy, but worse.
So it's really messed up. So he like adopts girls, but he makes sons. So he has had sons across the universe. Every planet he's been on, he usually goes back and kills the mother and the son because he's awful. Wow, but his daughters, he basically wanted them to be like his assassins. So he took Gamora, which we're gonna see hopefully expanded a little bit in Avengers. In the comic, Nebula was his granddaughter, niece. Nebula was actually related to him in the comics. In the movies and in the comics now, no, she was picked up by him and basically like made to be his daughter assassin.
Yeah. It's a great character. I think but I didn't know anything about him. Like, I don't know who these people are. Yeah. And at first they were like, oh, they're his daughters. I bought it.
Yeah.
I think you're supposed to. Yeah. Dummies like me are supposed to.
Yeah. I killed your parents. You're my kid now. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Vance. Yeah, I believe niece.
Maybe niece.
Yeah. Who knows?
We get. Oh, let's play Spot Stanley.
Stanley. Ooh, Stanley is hitting on the young girl. And when Rocket is looking for bounties,
there it is. Yeah.
And the fun fact about it is the word above his head that pops up is in Cree, which is the language of Ronin and Korath, but it translates to Excelsior.
Oh, nice!
Which is,
that's a nice little Easter egg.
Yeah.
And Rocket says, "What a Class A Cree," which is great.
Yeah, which is accurate.
We see John C. Reilly in a small but amazing role.
It's part of the Nova Corps.
He's part of Nova Corps, just hanging out. I wonder if he just was like, "What can you find me a spot in this movie? I want to be in this movie." And, and if I was making movies, I'll put John C. Reilly in wherever he wants. He's great.
So from the comic side, the way they handle the Nova Corps is strange, because the Nova Corps are basically Marvel's Green Lanterns. So they have a central power source they all draw the power from. They have different levels. They're basically space police.
You say that as if I know what Green Lanterns are.
They're space police. Wow, we're gonna have to do the other side now.
We're not doing that.
The Nova
I'm not
Corps,
sitting through Justice League again.
No, don't worry about it. So the Nova Corps comes from planet Xandar, and they all draw power from this one central source. Nova, the Nova character, is actually a superhero from Earth. He's a kid who joins the Nova Corps and basically gets to like defend Earth as part of the Nova Corps. The reason he eventually becomes his own big-time superhero is because the entire Nova Corps is destroyed. And so all of the power of the entire Nova Corps that was distributed amongst millions of beings all gets put into him. And so all of a sudden he's super powerful. So that whole storyline seems like it has no place in this.
I didn't get any sense of that at all.
No, they're basically just kind of space cops that get their butts kicked.
Kind of get the sense that they're basically just a bunch of dumb stormtroopers. They can't shoot, and they're not that good.
The Nova Corps was just kind of something for the Guardians to kick around that were necessarily 100% bad guys, and someone to store Infinity Stones, and something for Glenn Close to do.
Glenn Close, she's great.
I love the girl. She was so good.
Yeah, that surprised me seeing her in this. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, they're just pulling all the stops.
They can get anyone they want. They're like, look, pretty much the odds are really good it's going to make $1 billion. Do you want to be involved? Like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, please, thank you.
Yeah, we get to see Thanos in this movie.
Yes, we do.
Is that the first time we've seen him?
No, technically the end of Avengers is
we get to see a bit of him.
He turns and he smiles.
Yeah,
which again, different actor.
Get a little... Yeah, so tell me about that.
So they did motion capture of a guy who they didn't use again.
Do we know who that is? He's like, it's just some dude.
No, I've looked.
He was a grip, and they just needed somebody.
Exactly. I've looked him up before. He doesn't. If I remember right, he doesn't have a lot of roles. I feel like I don't remember.
He plays smirking guy in every movie.
Exactly. It's just like sideways smirking guy. So I don't really remember what else he's done. But yeah, then they got rid of him because Brolin,
is he also in Deadpool?
He is gonna. Yeah, he's Cable in Deadpool. We'll talk about that.
Oh man.
Well, they did do an aside about the movies that aren't in the Marvel universe, but are still Marvel,
and they're using the same actors, which is not fair to dum-dums like me. It's just not fair. I can't. Wait a minute. He's Thanos too.
But wait. In this movie, he's the older guy with the mechanical arm, but he's not the mechanical arm guy from this movie. He's the big purple guy.
He's the different guy,
but he's not the big green guy.
So the Thanos we see. How does he look? I assume his look is based on the art from the comic books?
He is very comic accurate.
Yeah,
he is so incredibly comic accurate.
He doesn't have. We don't know much about him,
right?
So we can't say like how close is he to comic Thanos, except his description is that he's a mass murdering insane person.
Exactly.
Which I'm assuming is pretty accurate.
Who hires? He distributes. What's the term when you give work to your lackeys?
He delegates.
Yeah, he delegates a lot of his murdering and stuff.
Well, you gotta. I mean,
you can't kill everyone.
Work-life balance. Come on. He's gotta have time for his family, his daughters.
Hey, I killed your entire planet, but I love you.
But I love you.
I'm now gonna beat the crap out of you until you can survive.
I like it. So the Guardians escape from prison. That's a great scene. Yeah. That's fun. I love where Rocket makes him get the leg.
I need that guy's leg. I got the leg.
It cost me 30,000 units.
What did look at his face?
I like it because it's telling me so much about Rocket.
Yeah.
And it's also it's just a nice moment of comic relief in an otherwise serious and quality action scene.
Yeah. They're getting ahead again in the chat. They're talking about the end of the movie again.
All right. Benicio del Toro again, the Collector. Tell me about the Collector's origin. So I've seen him briefly on screen, and now I get to like really meet him in the movie. So
the Collector is he's an ancient powerful celestial being. He has a brother. Who I don't know if they did not connect them yet in the movies. You're going to meet him in Thor. The Collector, his thing is that he wants to have the greatest collection of everything, of species, of technology, of artifacts,
bottle caps, pogs, baseball cards.
Exactly.
You name it.
He's like, I am so in. I know a lot of people aren't really. No one thinks their Furbies have any value left.
You didn't come here for.
I still have my.
You didn't come here for a Pogs reference, but you got one.
But you got one. TCC.
This is a free podcast.
I love it.
People don't even have to pay for this awesome
Pog-related podcast. But yes, so the Collector is just this being. In Guardians, they make him seem a little bit more. He's very powerful because he's wealthy, not because he's an ancient celestial being.
Okay.
He's just kind of consolidated himself in nowhere, which is very comic accurate. The way they had nowhere. It was so good.
It was really cool.
I love because it's just a floating celestial head, and that's where they hang out a lot. So the Collector. It seems like he's just basically because he's so wealthy has managed to acquire all this stuff, as opposed to being an ancient, powerful being.
And I don't know. Again, I don't know it from the comics, but I think Benicio del Toro plays it just the right amount of creepy.
I think he's great. He basically does a really good job of being a person who would collect all of the people and collect all of the things and want to have he'd want to have Howard the Duck up there.
Of course he would. Yeah. That was great. The first ever Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Howard the Duck.
Quality.
They made a big mistake.
Do the arm thing the collector does, the thing where he's like, and then he beautiful, that kind of a thing. I'm not doing it again.
It's an audio format.
Yeah. So I mean,
this is a one-time video.
YouTube and Twitch gets this, but if you're listening on audio, you're like, oh, I missed the arm thing.
Yeah. Yondu's got a little arrow that responds to his whistle.
Yes.
That's all I need to know about that magical weapon?
In the comics, he's an archer. He has a bow and arrow. Okay. Like a super strong bow.
So they just played it a little different here.
Exactly, yeah. Instead, they were just like, oh, he controls it with his mohawk. Yes, Jeff Goldblum's character is the collector. No, we don't know if they're actually brothers in the Marvel Universe. In the comic books, the two characters are brothers. Carry
on. So Michael Rooker as Yondu.
Great.
I love it. Let me tell you, he's never bad in anything, Michael Rooker. I met him.
So have I.
I sold him an iPhone. I sold his wife an iPhone.
I didn't have that kind of a cool experience.
I spent a lot of time talking to him. He even told me, he said, if you wanted to act, you could get into it right now. Geeky look is in. So I got
nice of him.
Yeah, so I didn't. It wasn't something I was asking for.
Yeah. I saw him at a convention because now he does all the conventions because of The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead too, and he's great in that.
Dang it, Vance clipped it. Crap. Well, that's going on Twitter tomorrow.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
But yeah, the Michael Rooker is such a cool guy. He loves being at the cons. He loves meeting people.
I haven't met a ton of celebrities, but he was definitely among the nicest. He was a really cool guy. He loved people would walk up and want to take a picture. He took time to talk to them, and he was a really great guy. So then I see him in this, and I'm like, hey, it's my buddy.
Yeah,
we're friends. We're friends. He's great.
Yeah,
and the character Yondu is great. And then when we get into Guardians 2, he gets even better. Oh
God,
I'm gonna cry again. I did see that one before because this one was so good.
Yeah.
This one gives you they hint at some sentimentality.
Mm-hmm.
We go from I am Groot to we are Groot.
Exactly.
He's learned new words.
Yeah, he's learned one new word.
Two words. He knows R.
Oh yeah, we are. Yeah.
He's learned we, and he's learned to conjugate.
Yeah.
He's nailing it.
He's moving up in that tree world.
Yeah. And then we find out that Yondu was actually hired to take Peter Quill to his dad. We don't know who his dad is. Right. We know he's special.
Yeah. Then they I'm not going to say they screw that one up, but they botch it hard.
In
Guardians 2.
Right, we're going to get there.
I like, quick aside, I like what they do. I like the way they ended up changing it, but it was so different from the comics. Like, it's not even remotely close to the comics. And we'll talk about that.
We're going to get there because that's one I did see in the theaters, and I'm so proud of myself for seeing one in the theaters. Yeah. Which I'm getting better.
Yeah. So, Lee Pace.
This is an amazing actor.
Yeah.
All I can see is him in Pushing Daisies.
See, I've never watched that, but that was brought up on last week's episode because we talked about
Pushing
nostalgia.
Daisies because Lee Pace he plays a great villain in this. But in Pushing Daisies he's a really nice dude.
And well, he's also he's Legolas's father in The Hobbit.
Really?
He's the king of Mirkwood.
I'm gonna have to pay more attention next time.
Yeah, if you really want to.
If I want to.
Yeah.
It's a lot of movie. It's a big commitment. And I've got, like 9 more of these.
All right, I would like to address this. I can accept different origin stories. I like it. I literally said I like it. I like what they did in that movie, which we'll talk about. I'm totally okay with them making the change. But that's so different from the comics, I have to bring it up. Because it's not even barely... It's not even remotely related to the way they did in the comics. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying it's so different that we have to mention it. Yes, Lee Pace was also in Twilight. I forgot about that.
He's in Twilight?
Yeah, he's like
he's one of the
when they have to like get together all the vampires to like witness the kid.
Yeah, he's important.
Yeah, he is. He's a very powerful vampire as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He's in *Halt and Catch Fire*. He's great in that too.
And he will be returning because I assume cuz he's a Kree, but he's like a rebel because of like what happened.
Does he not die in this?
He dies, but in Captain Marvel it's going to be based in the 90s.
Oh, they're going back. So
and it's going to be during the Kree.
They can resurrect characters if they want to.
They can do the Kree Skrull War where I think he's just more of a soldier at that point.
Well, that works for me because I can use more of that.
Yeah, and we're also going to have
a good villain.
Korath the Pursuer, who was I always want to say his name is Digimon because it's Djimon.
Jaimin Hansu.
Jaimin Hansu. But I look at him like Digimon, digital monsters. He's coming back as Korath as well.
Oh, it's gonna be good. I'm even more looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And we get a good sequel setup. He opens the present. Awesome.
There's tape 2.
Volume 2.
Yeah.
And then we get Baby Groot dancing.
Yeah.
Which is just so cute. And if that can't sell toys, nothing will.
That scene, I just wanted to watch it over and over. When he's just dancing.
Do you have a dancing Baby Groot toy?
I do not have a dancing Baby Groot toy because I'm 100% honest.
Christmas
most of them look pretty crappy.
Do they?
They didn't look good because have you ever like seen like a dancing toy where it's very obvious that if you took off the toy, he's just like mechanical arms, and they just put like a rubberized sleeve over him. So like when he like bends his arm, like there's a very obvious like crease there. Like it doesn't look natural at all.
Can I tell you where they're missing a real opportunity is making wacky inflatable waving arm guys that look like Groot.
Now that's what I don't. Why haven't we need to contact James Gunn?
We are going to be millionaires.
Millionaires.
Step forward, profit.
But yeah, everything about I think because Guardians was such, like I said, a gamble because up until that point, all we had was. we had basic superhero stuff like Thor was kind of out there, but a lot of it was on Earth, and then we had Iron Man on Earth, Captain America on Earth, like all these things being down to Earth, and then they're like, we're gonna go, like people are ready for us to go
real far, and they gave us a taste of it in Thor, and they introduce all the 9 realms, but then we don't spend a lot of time there. You're right, and this we spend 99% of this movie
in space.
Is in space. Yeah. Post-credit scene, we get the Collector and Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Should we go back and watch Howard the Duck? I feel like we might need that origin story.
I mean, yeah.
Hey, it's a lot. It's all practical effects. It's true. It's definitely got a good look to it.
We also saw for a second Cosmo. So
Cosmo Kramer is in
Cosmo, the space dog. So we saw like the Basset Hound with the space suit on. So he's a very important comic book character. He is a telepathic dog who's basically like the sheriff of nowhere, and he was literally a Russian, like he was a cosmonaut, like he was a dog shot,
like Laika the dog,
exactly, shot into outer space, and he made it all the way to nowhere.
And
he became the sheriff because he's psychic.
I am so mad that's not its own film. If Marvel, if you're not making this a movie, you're missing out. I'm gonna discount everything you've done to this point if you don't decide to make that into its own. At least give us a short.
Yeah,
give us 20 minutes on the dog.
Yeah, it was interesting because the way it was interesting when Phase 2 went, because it's like after Avengers and they're like, we have to come down because it's emotionally and everything's gonna come down, and then we kind of like,
and we gotta build. We gotta start. We gotta build.
And then all of a sudden we're like, oh wait, Winter Soldier. And we're like Guardians, and then we're gonna plateau. And
we're gonna drop off a little bit.
Depending on who you are,
we're gonna drop off a little bit.
No, wait, no, we're gonna dip and then we're gonna plateau.
Yeah, we're gonna get the Age of Ultron dip.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think how many more movies there are. There's 2 more.
There's 2 more, and this one doesn't end with the Avengers, which is interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was a strange.
I thought it was gonna end with Avengers, even as I was buying the movies, putting them in order, and I'm going, well, this one is not in the right place. It should end with Avengers. It does not. But we do get Age of Ultron in May of 2015.
Yes.
I saw this in the theaters. Yeah. So applaud me. I made it to the theater to see a film.
Can we get some clapping emojis in the chat room?
Clap emojis.
Anyone got the clapping emojis? Maybe with a pog champ and a clapping emoji. Thank you.
This is not a well-loved movie.
Yeah.
75% on Rotten Tomatoes. That makes it the 15th highest rated of... How many have they done? 17 movies?
There's so many.
There's a lot.
Come on, Vance. I asked for a pog champ and a clapping emoji, and that's what I get.
Hey!
Thank you, Steve's. Thanks, the Capeless Crusaders.
Yeah, 75 is about right. This is a C-. This is a C effort.
Okay.
You feel different.
I think it's a B.
They spent $333 million to make this movie. It made worldwide $1.4 billion. Currently the second most.
Really?
Behind the Avengers.
Yeah, okay.
Except it looks like Black Panther's going to outpace that, and then Infinity War.
Infinity War is going to kill
Infinity
all of
War.
It. They've pre-sold more tickets than the last 7 Marvel movies combined.
As for pre-sales?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's gonna make $2 billion. It's gonna be the $2 billion movie. Yeah. Is what it's gonna come down to. But yeah, it looks like Black Panther's gonna eventually outpace this one, and for good reason.
Yeah.
But it's not. Again, it's not terrible.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch this than a lot of other things.
Yeah.
We get a snow-based assault. You ready for it? It's very James Bond.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
We get to see the twins again. We still don't get any origin story or anything like that, and we don't know that they're the twins. We don't really know what that means. We just know that they're the twins.
Right.
Like, that's all it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of witty banter in this assault, and I think this is why I don't love this movie.
Okay.
I think one of the things about the first Avengers that works so well is the moments of levity, the moments of comedy that come at just the right time. They're just the right beat when you need it. In this movie, I feel like they leaned very hard on those.
Right.
And it takes me out of the action scene.
I can see that.
There is one bit, and I like it just because it keeps coming back, and it's when one of them swears and Captain America says, "Language."
Yeah.
And it's not funny in the moment to me, but like the fourth time they bring it up to make fun of him, that got me laughing.
Are we going to go with the fact that he said language? I think the comedy was added to make it seem like they'd been doing this for a while. They'd been like fighting left and right, like
comfortable assault.
They were friends, and they were just going to joke because they know there's just another Hydra base.
Hey, we knock out Hydra bases every other day.
Yeah,
we have a routine: Hydra base pizza.
Exactly. Maybe shawarma, depending on the day.
It was funny the moment we get out of here. She doesn't know where I am. I'm in the safe room, the safe house, the secret lair.
Yeah, she's not 2 walls away.
There is solid Beats product placement in this scene. They look. I'm not mad about you. You got to make money. They cashed in this movie.
Yeah.
Beats product placement strong up front. I think there's other product placement in this. Is this? Yeah, we get Audi 5 times. There are close-ups on Audi logos.
Yeah, and
then Audi cars just doing work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and impractical Audi cars. There were much better vehicles to use, but they used Audis. Yeah. But hey, if it meant that the movie, that they get to keep making Marvel movies, then by all means, product placement away. Next, we're just gonna have Tony Stark in a Domino's t-shirt.
We're getting there. I think the way they had the when Baron Strucker's asking like who gave the word to open fire, and that one just like shell-shocked kid, he's like, the Avengers, and they're like, oh, well, okay, we'll do these things. He's like, but the Avengers, like it was like very much like, oh yeah, well,
this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
It definitely sets
no surrender. I am going to surrender.
The CGI scene where Ultron and Jarvis are, I don't know what, they're talking to each other, they're fighting.
Where they're like going through like the network together kind of.
Yeah, that didn't do anything for me.
Okay.
I was like, change my mind here. Or can you?
I can't. Like, I get it was. What was it? It was hang on, let me just no, that's fine. Yeah, so it's when he's like the blue swirl, and then he's the yellow swirl, and then he like starts like attacking him.
Yeah.
I think there was I don't know how they could have, I mean, maybe even had them as two like digital like bodies and have one attack the other. I don't know.
I probably would talk shit about that
too. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't work for me. I'm like, computer programs fighting is not something I'm into, I guess. It's not my thing. They're jumping ahead.
Yeah,
they're always jumping ahead with these kids. Let's play Spot Stanley.
Stanley in Ultron. He's one of the World War II vets.
He is.
At the party. And the party is great.
The party's great. The party scene is great.
When he gets dragged away.
Drunkenly says
Excelsior. Because he had that Norse, that Asgardian alcohol that knocks him out.
It's great. Thor, he's like, he dumps it in there, and I like the whole party scene.
The whole party scene was great. The hammer scene is
The hammer's the best.
Just my favorite.
It's a trick. It's a trick.
Everything of all of them, like I love that Cap moves it for a second and all these other things. But the best part is when Tony and Brody are holding it, and he's like, "Represent, fool!" And then they like turn on like the jets, like
yeah.
I just love where he's like, "Are you even pulling? Represent, fool!"
Yeah, I like that scene a lot, and I like Thor just sitting there being like, "It's not gonna happen. You're not gonna move it."
Yeah,
Cat moves a little bit. He's like, "Oh, wait,"
which is a little comic accurate.
Is it? Yeah,
yeah.
Cap can kind of
Cap can actually move it in the comics because he's one of the few people who's worthy because he's
Cap.
He's a great guy. Yeah,
he knows all the rules.
He is worthy of picking up the hammer. There are very few other people in the Marvel universe who are.
Yeah, that's probably the best scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Then we get Ultron lives. He does a there's a little Pinocchio shout out there. I don't know if maybe they were like, hey, we got Disney, we can use any Disney reference we want. Let's use one.
Yeah.
Free Disney references.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Because Cap is the best ever. Yeah, Cap's great.
Yeah, I love him. But yeah, the no strings on me. But it's also like a theme, like this whole idea that he's trying to get away from his father figure.
I love James Spader's voice acting. I love his voice.
Right.
I don't like that they made. I understand it's not strictly a computer program; it's an AI, but he's kind of whiny.
Yeah.
Like there's a scene where something happens and he goes, "Oh man!" And it kind of kills me.
Yeah.
But Spader is delivering.
Well, yeah, it was strange at first because you can tell there was very obvious motion capture because you had a robot literally making facial expressions like James Spader.
Right.
The way he looked like he's very like unique.
Yeah, and none of that worked for me. It made it less menacing, and I didn't want it to be less menacing because they're talking about like cryptically before they're talking about this whatever Ultron is and what is this, and these computer programs fight. Obviously that should be pretty insidious that it's taking over and it's gone into the internet and all these things, and then it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of a weird dude.
I think that they did a better job when he's stealing the vibranium and when he grabs Claw, Andy Serkis's character. And when he's like, someone said that to me before. That was Tony Stark. And when he everything turns red, and he's like, I'm not Tony Stark, and then he cuts off his arm.
Yes.
And then he's like, I'm sorry. That to me was a very like disjointed, but like it made sense from like a psychotic like mental break.
That kind of I'll take your point there. You can change my mind about that.
But I agree.
Overall,
sometimes
he was so emotional, and he's kind of.
It was a little weird.
It didn't make a ton of sense to me.
Yeah. That's actually a really good point that he's supposed to be almost unstable, which is kind of supposed to be scary.
I'm not getting him as unstable though. Like I said, I'm getting him as like angsty.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
he was just born yesterday.
It didn't feel unstable. It didn't feel scary. It took me out of it.
Okay.
It was less villainy.
Okay.
I love Andy Serkis as, is it pronounced Claw?
Yeah.
I love him as that. And
because he doesn't have a hand.
Because he lost that.
Yeah.
That's gone.
And then he gets a fake hand.
Yes. And we're going to talk about hands in a minute.
Yeah.
The first mention of Wakanda as Bruce Banner saying Wakanada. Wakanada. And they tell us a little more about vibranium.
Yes.
Which is just, this was like the first time since I've now having seen Black Panther. And I'm looking at it and going like, wow, they were really laying groundwork, and I never saw it.
Yeah.
And I think not being a comic book reader, it's just words. I mean, just
right.
It's all.
Well, and as a comic book fan, you'd be like, oh, that's a great like reference, but I still didn't even know what they were working on. So like, that's an awesome reference. Does that mean we're gonna get Black Panther?
Right.
Like,
It starts the gears turning. Yeah. For me, it was just like going about my day.
That sounds funny.
Hey, that's funny. And then we get a series of flashbacks for days.
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, it's one way to give us some backstory.
Right.
It just felt like a lot of flashbacks for everyone. You get a flashback. You get a flashback. And then we get to meet Hawkeye's secret family.
Yeah.
With Linda Cardellini. That's great.
Yeah.
Like when you see her, you're like, well, that's clearly Hawkeye's wife.
Right.
Like,
yeah. I love the whole house scene.
I think we should get a spin-off sitcom, The Bartons.
I'd be down with that.
It could work, right? A little country family kind of thing.
Now they're talking about Jared Leto.
Oh man, pass. So Ultron wants a body. So this is where we get to learn. I think the most important thing we learn about vibranium is what it can do.
Right.
One of the things, and he says it's the most versatile what does he say? It's the most versatile substance on the planet,
right?
And you use it to make a frisbee.
Yeah,
which is true. I like it. But now we're learning more about vibranium, and that sets up the rest of this movie.
Yeah, how it can bond with like organic like materials and kind of create a skin.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
and I like it, and it really sets up vibranium as like, oh yeah, this is important, this is valuable.
Yeah,
it makes you kind of retroactively understand Claw a little bit more.
Right.
Romanoff and Banner, love story. Is that in the comics? Is this a movie? Is this some?
It's a. If it
felt to me like, man, we don't have a love story.
Right.
We need a good love story.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
If it happened in the comics, I don't remember it.
Yeah, you were too young.
Yeah,
when you read those yesterday. Fury's back. Okay. This is where it all starts to come together. Fury's back. Selvig is back. We're bringing the band back together.
Someone has a refurbished helicarrier with some random shield agents that are still cool.
Why wouldn't you have a refurbished? I mean, if you had a helicarrier, would you just like, oh man, it got messed up. I guess we'll just get rid of it.
Right.
You're gonna hang on to that thing. It's neat. We get some more Audi product placement. Whiny Ultron.
Right.
Whiny Ultron, and then tell me about Vision.
Okay.
Because they don't name him as Vision in this. They talk about him as your Vision. They start Tony, it's your vision, his vision. They say that, but they don't actually put a name to him. Paul Bettany, which how weird would it have been if they couldn't get Paul Bettany to actually play in the movie?
These guys have with their British voice.
Get a different actor to play Vision. But tell me about Vision.
So they got it half right as far as comic accuracy goes. So the Vision was not created to be a body for Ultron. It was created to be Ultron's son. So he created the body of Vision and used the brainwaves from Wonder Man, who is a superhero that's been gone for a while. He just recently returned to the comic books, but he was like hardcore, like West Coast Avengers, kind of a not really generic, but he was super strong, could fly, shoot laser beams. He was an actor though. That was his whole thing. He was an actor and he was very famous, and so his brainwaves, the Ultron patterned Vision's brainwaves after him, and then he basically turns Vision on the Avengers, and basically because he's given him the ability to think and to process and do all that kind of stuff, he realizes that Ultron is wrong, humans are good. And kind of has the similar moments that he has with Ultron, where he tells him.
Yeah, we get a scene like that where they sort of discuss the nature of humans, but that's all we get.
So it was they kind of did it, but instead they basically Ultron built the body preparing for himself, and then they used the Mind Stone, which again ties it into the whole Infinity thing. And that's how they explain this whole consciousness being created.
Is that Mind Stone part of Vision? Is that part of the comics, or is that's getting it into the?
He just has like a cool body built by Ultron in the comics.
So they've just sort of added. They've just scabbed on.
They wanted to connect the Infinity Stones. Yeah.
I'm fine with it. It works.
Yeah.
He doesn't he doesn't really know what it is. He even says maybe it's not in this one. It could be in Civil War. He's like, I don't really know what it is. I know it's powerful though.
Exactly.
And they know they stuck it to my forehead.
I love that there's a vibranium versus adamantium debate going on in the chat room right now, and it's that is correct. Adamantium was created in order to replicate vibranium. Adamantium, while it's super strong, vibranium can take any vibration.
Absorbs all vibration.
Exactly. So in theory, if you were coming at a vibranium shield with an adamantium bat, it would just bounce off. So
we just shut that down right now.
Yeah, basically.
Let me see. This is where the movie actually comes together for me, when they're sitting around, and it's where it's supposed to come together. But this is where I started going like, oh, I'm turning around. I'm liking this movie a lot more. Is when Vision hands Thor his hammer.
Right.
Let's get going.
Right.
And he hands him Mjolnir. Meow meow.
Yeah. That was, and everyone's just like,
the looks on everyone's face.
Which is like, that's it. Because everyone's like, we don't trust this guy. We don't trust this guy. And then he does that. And it's like, well, we trust that.
I guess, yeah, that's good enough for us.
Yeah.
We'll take it. And then as they're sort of going into battle, we get we get another classic Captain America speech rallying everyone. The people of Sokovia, they didn't want to be a part of it. It's another good one. Dare I say it's the best Captain America rousing to battle speech.
It's when he says if you get hurt, shake it off, or if you get killed, kill him back, or whatever. Like when he gives that speech.
He's like if you get hurt, keep fighting. If you get killed, shake it off. Or something like that. It's a good one. Yeah. I like it.
It's a wonderful speech.
Yeah. So there's no more Jarvis.
Right.
So we have Friday.
Right. My girl Friday.
Tell me about Friday.
So Friday, because originally
she's an Irish lass.
Yes, in the original comics, walk it off. Thank you. In the original comics, Jarvis was a butler. Jarvis was the butler of the Avengers. He was the Stark's butler, kind of like Alfred to Batman, but not nearly as awesome. And Jarvis was then the butler at the Avenger Mansion. And
now I'm sad there's no Avenger Mansion in this movie.
No, they don't have it. But I love that I love that my wife is the one finding the comic references. But Jarvis was originally a person, and then since then in the current comics Jarvis is gone and he's an AI. So basically they went that route right out the gate with the movies where they just made him the AI, but now that AI no longer exists. Tony was always working on other AIs, so now he basically just booted up another one and made it a woman.
Yeah, they make it. He's like sorting through thumb drives, basically looking for the one that he wanted.
Yeah.
And he gets My Girl Friday.
Yep.
It works.
Yeah.
I like it.
She's just an AI.
Yeah. Just another. She's new Jarvis.
Yep.
Let's see. We get the helicarrier comes back. Romanoff, when she provokes Banner, she needs the Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh, she's so mean.
Yeah. Just push him.
She just chucks him off a building, but it works. She gets what she wants.
Their love story is weird to me.
I
don't hate it the way a lot of people do, but it's odd.
I don't hate it because I think it's the only mechanism that they can use to keep, given the Banner that they've created.
Yeah.
The persona that they've created for him. Without the love story, there's no way that character makes the choice to stay.
Right.
He would have run off long ago, and you would be without a Hulk in your movies. So I think as far as mechanisms to get him to stay as a motivation, it works. So I don't have a huge problem with it, and it's not over the top. We're not making romantic comedies about them yet. Avengers 4.
Yeah.
Avengers 4. Sex in the City. I would call it.
Meets friends. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be really cool. Vision in the fight scene. Vision is dealing.
Yes.
And so we're understanding the power of the Mind Stone. We're understanding Vision's power. Is he the most powerful Avenger at this point?
I think the argument could be made that he has a lot of untapped potential because he has a vibranium body, so he has one of the strongest materials on the planet. His body is made out of. He can change his density at will.
Yeah, you can fly through walls and through people.
But he can also make himself super dense and super heavy. So
have we seen him do that?
Did you see Civil War?
I have seen Civil War.
It's not part of this, but
I have seen Civil War.
When Wanda tries to escape, she activates that power, which is why he collapses through everything.
Okay.
So he has not done it himself, but we see that happen.
But we know that he can.
Yeah, so he can change his density, so he's fly super strong, and he has the Mind Stone, which can turn into a beam and stuff. So I wouldn't necessarily say he's the strongest because Hulk might be able to.
Yeah, we don't really know that.
Yeah, we haven't seen him actually
in a lot of ways. He's he's Thor,
right?
Wearing the Black Panther suit, he's covered himself in vibranium, basically. Plus, he has magical powers.
Yeah,
he can go through walls, and
in theory, he could become incorporeal or corporeal, whatever. He could reach in, grab your heart, and then become become
Kalima.
Exactly, and break and kill you. So in theory, he could.
But he also has a laser that blasts out of his forehead, so he can do that too.
He's kind of the strongest.
He seems to me to be the strongest.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would beat Vision.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
April 29th.
29th is it?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. So in the end, Vision kills Ultron.
Yeah.
The last instance of Ultron. And it kind of just ends.
Yeah.
It's good. But we get the cap on the movie is a new Avengers facility, with kind of a new lineup of Avengers.
Exactly, the new Avengers.
And let me see if I'm getting this right. Captain America, Black Widow, Vision, Scarlet Witch. Are we calling her that in the movies, or are they not allowed to call her that?
I don't think that. So they can, because they call. I mean, well, that's actually a really good question. I don't know if they have the rights to that.
My recollection is they only call her Wanda.
Yeah, I've only heard Wanda.
So I don't know if maybe they can't call her Scarlet Witch.
But
I only learned that name from Googling.
Did they refer to her as a witch at one point? I'm not sure. That's actually a really good point.
Maybe.
But yeah, but it's Scarlet Witch.
I wrote here Wings Guy because I could not remember Falcon in the moment. Wings Guy.
Yeah, Wing Guy.
Falcon. And the Iron Patriot.
War Machine.
Is he goes back to War Machine?
Yeah.
They don't actually name him as that until when do they call him War Machine again?
So well, they haven't yet, but
yeah.
In Civil War they just call him Rhodey.
Right. Yeah.
But no,
because he starts as War Machine. They rebrand him as Iron Patriot.
I know. No, in the party scene. He like when he like talks about like when he refers to himself as War Machine when he's telling the stories.
Okay.
Like, he drops it.
Oh, I dropped a tank. And, yeah. Okay, so I missed it.
Yeah. So he goes back
not
to being
perfect. We're lovers, not experts. Well, he's an expert. So War Machine. That did I get everybody?
Yeah.
And everybody else is kind of deciding. What
Hulk is going off.
He's trying to keep it contained.
Tony's Tony. He's supporting, but at the same time he's kind of questioning. Yeah, he's kind of questioning. Thor is back on Asgard, being an Asgardian.
Yeah. So we don't. I mean, especially not knowing the comics, we're going okay. So we got it's like Menudo. We're still the Avengers, but we have new members.
Yeah. Tony is stalking Spider-Man. Thank you. Yeah, that's what he is.
That is what he's doing.
Creepily.
Yeah. Spider-Man's what, 16? Not creepy at all.
Yeah.
Post-credit scene, we see Thanos, and he says, "Fine,
I'll do it myself."
And then we see the Infinity Gauntlet. Is it empty at this point? He has no stones.
He has no stones.
So he's just a guy putting on a gold glove for no reason.
So it's funny because
it has no powers at this point.
No, it's just a gauntlet. In the comics, he literally just has yellow gloves and he like attaches the stones and it becomes.
I'm imagining it was yellow kitchen gloves, like
basically. But then
a little bit,
yeah. But now it's like this armor.
It's a real deal.
So it's
one movie magic
because we talked about it the way like once because Thor actually mentions it, I believe in Dark World. Was it Dark World or Ultron? He basically says now that the Infinity Stones have started to appear. He says at the end when he's walking with when they're debating if an elevator could.
It doesn't count if an elevator.
Yeah, because Vision, it's like he's not actually human. It's like put an elevator. Doesn't count.
But what about an elevator? An elevator's not worthy.
But Thor wants to leave because he's worried about how many Infinity Stones have appeared recently.
He says it's not a coincidence that they're starting to appear.
Exactly, and it's kind of like. It's because I kind of have this theory that Thanos is basically like because I don't know if he has to know that the staff and the Tesseract are Infinity Stones, but it's almost like he gets them out there, like he like distributes them so that they'll like bring out the other ones and then he'll kind of collect them all. But it's also kind of like when he says that fine, I'll do it myself. It's almost kind of like he did have, like he had intentions, like he had plans.
Well, like he's gonna use Loki and he's gonna use the. Halitosis Four Thumbs. I can't think of his name.
Yeah. I don't remember. Yeah, I can't remember his name either.
But he's going to use him.
Sandy Rivers.
Sandy Rivers. He's got plans, and the Avengers are thwarting those plans. So he says, "All right, fine. If you want something done right, you have to do it yourself."
Exactly.
And finally, Ant-Man. We're going to end Phase 2 with the least known. Character. I had never heard of Ant-Man.
Yeah.
But what was interesting, it took me far too long to make a connection between Spider-Man and Ant-Man.
Right.
Like in just the names, in the sense of like Spider-Man makes sense. I've heard of Spider-Man since I was like a kid.
Yeah.
And then like Ant-Man, I'm like, that is a dumb name. And then I was like, wait, Bug-Man, Spider-Man, like fine.
Yeah.
Never heard of Ant-Man. Talk me through Ant-Man.
So the way they did it is actually interesting. So Paul Rudd, who knew, is Scott Lang. Scott Lang being a basically what's the term? Not dishonored, but he was a mechanical engineer, disgraced mechanical engineer because he basically Robin Hood, the company he was working for. So he's a burglar. The original Ant-Man was Hank Pym. So Hank Pym being played by
Michael Douglas.
Thank you, Michael Douglas.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
they can literally get anyone they want for these movies.
So
they could reanimate like Marlon Brando and Orson Welles, and they'd say like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
So Hank Pym was part of the original early Avengers, and Ant-Man and the Wasp were very early.
These are in
the comics.
Early Avengers comics.
Early Avengers, and his ability was he could shrink down to the size of an ant. He had a helmet that allowed him to control ants, and he basically had the strength, like
he keeps the relative strength
exactly
of his full size when he's small.
Exactly. So,
which this movie almost nails. There are some very interesting continuity things where they're like he keeps the same size, so when he falls, he cracks stuff, and then sometimes when he's little, he doesn't. Yeah. He's little, like he's lightweight. It's a tough needle to thread.
Yeah, it's tough to explain that science. The thing about Hank Pym is that they rebranded him so many times in the comic books. He was Ant-Man, he was Yellow Jacket, he was Giant Man. He has passed on his mantle before. He's basically much less successful Tony Stark. That's always been Hank Pym. Whereas Tony had all the money, Hank Pym was always making mistakes, but he was just as smart.
They referenced that in this movie a little bit, with Cross basically saying like, we're finally taking your company into the big time. Something to that effect, which is like, they do sort of reference the fact that he never really got to that next level.
Well, and in the movie, they made it seem like he did that by choice. Like, he didn't want to sell out.
And he's like, I'm not letting anyone get the Pym particle.
Yeah, in the comic, he just kept messing up in the comics. So, but he's still one of the most intelligent people in the Marvel Universe.
Well, if they wanted to play it that way, they would have got like Mr. Bean to play him in the movie.
That would have been solid.
It would have worked. He's probably going to show up in an Avengers movie at some point.
I'd be down with it.
So this movie starts in 1989, and we learn about the Pym particle because he's having a conversation with John Slattery playing Howard Stark, which is just, I love that. I love John Slattery's Howard Stark. It just fits so well.
It's phenomenal.
And which is cool to see that, and it immediately was like, okay, all of these stories are connected,
right?
Like and I think for somebody who's like, who's Ant-Man? That doesn't make any sense. It was like, okay, well, I'm already buying in. He's part of the gang,
right? And then he separates himself from it, which explains why he's not involved up until this point,
right? He's coming back in. He lays a serious right hook, I think.
Yeah.
Which is just great to see, just like Michael Douglas just throwing heat,
right?
And Paul Rudd, we get his backstory. We get remind me his name.
Scott Lang.
We get his backstory. We get a little bit of that. He gets a job at Baskin Robbins. I love the Baskin Robbins always finds out.
That's in the
yes,
it's in the chat.
Baskin Robbins always finds out.
The manager's just like, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
I gotta fire you.
Look, you want to take one of those mango fruity blasts on the way out? I won't say anything. Yeah, and he goes back to the apartment. Oh, they found you?
Yeah.
Baskin Robbins always finds out. T.I. is in that.
Yeah.
I love that. Michael Pena, he's great.
Mm-hmm.
I know who he is. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what else I've seen him in. Right. Steve's hit me.
Let's put the kids to bed.
But yeah, I don't know what else I've seen him in, but he's great in this.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
When he explains like the connection.
Yeah, him telling a story.
So my cousin,
the wrong details. Those are the wrong details. Going to Judy Greer as Lang's ex-wife, Bobby Cannavale as her new husband. They can get anyone in these movies.
It's true. They were great.
It won't be long before we get. It won't be long before we just get like they just go to the Oscars to film the Avengers movies. They just shoot it all.
They're just like, all right, please step forward.
You go up, you present an award.
You're gonna be this character.
An award. You go off to the side and shoot an Avengers scene.
You're gonna be this character. Go for it.
Corey Stoll as Darren Cross. That's perfect casting to me. I don't know him from the comics, but he's so the perfect amount of devious and a little bit charming.
I actually, it's interesting. I like Darren Cross in the movies more than I like him in the comics.
Really?
Because in the comics, he's like this weird, like, he's experimented on himself and he's kind of a monster. And it's all about basically like it's either him or his dad. Someone needs like a heart thing, and there's something that Pym particles can do to save their life, and like he won't give it to them. And it's this weird, strange, like, it's
they play on that here, him being pretty cold blooded.
Yeah, like, and that's why I thought
we were gonna use a mouse. Like, nah, I'm gonna vaporize the cutest animal in the world.
Yeah, they made him much less like reliant on a strange story. It made him like a real like cutthroat person that could exist.
Yeah, he's just,
which I like.
Yeah. We've met in our lives. We've come across somebody who's just as sadistic feeling as this guy.
Right,
he is. Evangeline Lilly. When I saw her on screen, it was like shocking because I was like, they got everybody, and I also did not realize how big of a part she was going to play.
Yes,
I mean,
they
play that spy scene, the double cross nicely.
Yeah.
So I was like, why is she playing such a small role? Aha! Aha! I like the first time Ant-Man shrinks. He calls it a trial by fire or by water. It reminded me of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids so hard. I couldn't get past it, but I didn't mind it.
Yeah,
I loved Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah,
and then it also reminded me of the scene in that where they befriend ants.
Right,
and they have.
It's true.
It was dead on.
Yeah.
This is good. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids here. They have an ant-based prison escape scene.
Right.
It works. I like that he was there 1 minute and then he was gone.
Yeah.
They sort of... I like the idea that all of the cops just sort of like... The cage doesn't know and they can't see the guy anywhere. They just buy like, well, he clearly escaped.
Right.
When your first thought would have been like, all right, who screwed up?
Yeah.
I'd have been pointing fingers so fast.
This door's locked. What's happening?
Yeah. Them infiltrating Pym Tech to get in there reminded me of Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
The way the storytelling aspect of it is really great, and it just like sucked me in. It was really good. To say that I was pleasantly surprised by this movie because I went in with zero expectations. Not low expectations, like I didn't think it was any good. I had no idea what to expect, and I liked so much of this movie.
I think again it was kind of a weird phase 2. They took some weird gambles. It was kind of because like I never
Ant-Man's
saw
out of nowhere.
I never saw Ant-Man or Guardians ever being a thing, and they both to me did really great. I thought it was also a really good idea to not go with traditional Hank Pym, like having Hank Pym be the advisor, like spirit guide to Scott Lang made total sense to allow to tie it in, like you were saying, tie it into S.H.I.E.L.D., then also give it, rather than having another scientist guy, he's an engineer, but like that's not he's not a super genius like Hank Pym.
Yeah, it kind of, I feel like it really does give the story a lot of legs, because it also, it opens it up. It's like, it's not just like, look, nobody else can be Thor. He can't pass on being Thor.
Right.
But this is strictly a matter of science and training.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, even nobody can be Tony Stark. Like, you can wear an Iron Man suit, but you can't have Tony Stark's brain.
Right.
That kind of thing. So in this sense, this is a different sort of take on that, which works, and Paul Rudd plays it really well.
Yeah, it is.
Going on. Let's see. I loved in the fight scene when Ant-Man is shrunken down and he's running on the model of Pym, of the Pym building that's going to be the cross,
right? And they're like
they're shooting it, and it's just like it would be if it was full size.
Yeah,
but it's on this little model, so the styrofoam's blasting everyone. I thought it was incredibly clever, much like the tank, which they showed you earlier. It's Chekhov's tank, where they show you the tank, and you're like, all right, I guess we're just going to show people's keychains in this movie.
Yeah.
And then once you find out what's going on, it just goes barreling out. The Yellow Jacket getting stuck on the bug zapper was like, should have seen that coming a lot further away. I didn't see it coming, but it still didn't feel corny at all.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's a movie about bug guys.
Yeah, of course.
Bug zapper. But I'm also glad that's not how they killed him.
Right.
Like, it would have been
so
really lame if it was
I beat
a
him.
bug zapper situation.
I beat him. He's stuck up there.
The toy train fight scene, also
good.
so good, so clever. It's such an action movie trope to have fights on trains. We get it in Mission Impossible. We get it in Bond. We get it in another Avengers movie. Or in another Marvel movie.
Right.
We get all these. And they do a train fight scene.
Yeah.
But it's tiny on a
like
Thomas the Tank Engine train, and when it
zoom
derails,
out.
and it's just bloop, it just falls over. Off
He's
the
like,
track.
get running.
So it's so clever. It's so smart.
Full side, it just goes out the front of the house.
Full size out the front of the house.
And his eyes just going back and forth.
Yes, that cracked me up.
Yeah,
I thought
this epic fight
great.
with just these tiny trains. Exactly.
Yes, I thought it was really good. Let's see, Giant Thomas the Train. Ant-Man goes subatomic. My only problem with that scene is they don't explain where the idea came from for him to put the thing in the regulator and make himself big again.
Right.
Which is just sort of like you said, he's not a super genius.
Right.
He doesn't have this, but all of a sudden, in the moment of going subatomic, and they have the scene of like, well, this is how the mom died, and this is all these things, and then he's just like, why don't I just shove this thing in here and see what happens? I would have liked to have seen a little more sort of like reasoning behind that, or some sort of like grand, because it's a great mechanic of him, like, I got these nifty little things and this is going to get me out of it, but it just was like, oh, so I guess he's now a genius.
Yeah.
Like, super smart.
Yeah.
I'll buy it though, because the rest of the movie...
Well, and it's great. Like, because I mean, at one point when he's messing with it and he's talking to Pym, and Pym's like, "Don't mess with that because you could go subatomic." It's like he kind of knew the functionality of it, but I would have even rather seen him, like, rather than just doing it, like him almost like panicking and like
breaking it.
And like
trying to piece it back together. Or something.
Yeah. So it was in the moment. It was just kind of like, oh hey, but
and there's the voiceover going on where you're hearing the echoes of the stuff from previous in the movie, and the echoes of what's happening as he's going into the quantum realm. I thought one of those was going to... something that was said was going to indicate to him, like, how he gets out of it.
Right.
Like, it was going to be a clue, and it's not.
As opposed to him just hearing his daughter, so that makes him do it.
Makes him want to do it.
Exactly. So it's rather than figuring it out, he wants it to happen.
So there's not... Yeah, it's just kind of...
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, it just feels a little bit like a Deus Ex Machina, where it's just kind of like, hey, we're magically going to get out of this situation.
Okay.
But I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
You know where Stanley is?
I just watched this the other night. I have to know.
I'm already saying he's in the end. You know that it's towards the end.
Yeah. I can't remember. Where was he?
He's a bartender. In the bar at the end of the movie, he plays bartender. Really, it's a small one.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
Yeah, it's not huge. It's just a little one. It's a good one, but of all of them, it's probably like the least sort of like reveal of all of them. But you gotta get him in. You gotta get him in there. He was there. Post credits, Pym gives Hope the Wasp suit, prototype suit, and they decide we're gonna finish it. Which we know now that we're getting Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Right.
At the time, we didn't, but they're setting up a sequel, and you know that, and so it's interesting. Did you, when you saw that, were you like, sweet, we're getting Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I didn't know it was going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm like, but yeah, like I knew, like, cool, she's going to be the Wasp. Like, it totally made sense.
Yeah, you definitely, they're setting it up. And then a second post-credit scene is just a scene from Civil War, which we don't know that it's a scene from Civil War yet.
Yeah, but
it's Bucky and the Vice.
Yeah, and they mentioned, like, I know a guy.
Yeah, and I know a guy.
Because Mackie knows him now through that. Again, through the weird, like, did he tell you? Tell my cousin? Because I'm my cousin? Because I know Ant-Man?
Yeah, and it's because I know Ant-Man, because I'm, like, super smart, right? Like,
what did he say? And he said, yeah.
He said, yeah. and then the flash on the screen of Ant-Man will return.
Yeah.
So we know he's coming back. We don't know when or where at this point.
Right.
Especially, we also know that we're getting a Wasp. We know we're getting a sequel.
Right.
Does he figure into the Avengers the Avengers universe in the comics?
Yeah.
Or is this them?
No, he's part of the Avengers.
Avenger.
Yeah, he's an Avenger. So the Wasp is an Avenger. Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, they were
previously.
They were founding members of the Avengers in the comics, and Scott Lang and the current Wasp are current Avengers. So we don't know how they're going to fit yet, because we know they work into Civil War. We know how Ant-Man works into Civil War because they bring him in. We don't yet know how he's going to fit into Infinity War.
Okay, I think that's what I'm driving at.
Especially because we didn't see him or Hope in the trailers. We didn't see we didn't see a handful of characters in the trailers.
There was a big to do about not seeing Hawkeye in the trailer.
Yeah, so we're not sure. But I mean, of course, there's another movie, and Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to be the first movie after Infinity War.
After Infinity War,
yeah,
and then. We already know we're getting. Originally, it was going to be Infinity War Part 2. Now they're just calling it Avengers 4.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that tells us very much.
It really doesn't.
I feel like I think a lot is being made of that. Like
yeah,
people
are
like, oh well, maybe
that must mean this.
They got to do this. And I was like, maybe they just didn't want it to feel like it was like you were only getting half a movie.
Yeah,
it could be that simple. So where do we go from here? We are finished Phase 2.
Phase 2. On to Phase 3.
On to Phase 3, and we start with, what do we start with? Civil War, which I had not seen before.
You haven't?
I have watched.
Oh, okay,
I've watched
it since. Okay.
Since I've watched it now for this, but this was my first Civil War viewing.
Wait, are you going into Phase 3?
No.
Okay, I was like, it is late.
No, I'm saying I'm so excited that I had to go straight from Phase 2 to Phase 3.
Civil War was phenomenal.
Well, I look forward to diving into it.
It's going to be good. Well, that about wraps it up for this week's episode of The Capeless Crusaders, in parentheses, The Clueless Crusader. My name is David Barrie, at Dr. Barrie, on varying social media platforms. I'm, of course, joined by Mickey at
Dad is Unemployed
Dad
on
is
Instagram
Unemployed.
and Twitter.
Yes, we're not talking about the helicopter scene yet. Anyway, for anything related to the Capeless Crusaders, the previous Clueless Crusaders, where we talked about Phase 1, any of our other content, you can go to thecapelesscrusaders.com. Everything lives there. That links to our YouTube. If you're watching this on Twitch right now, you're rewatching on Twitch, you can hit the follow, you can hit the subscribe. We would love you if you would do those. Or if you're on YouTube, they're down here, and you could hit them there. Or if you're on audio, then you don't know what I'm gesturing at because you're just listening to the words. So don't worry about that. Thank you to our sponsors, Empire's Comics Vault and Computer Booter. This is difficult when this is so backwards and everything. Thank you for joining me, Mickey. We will wrap this up next week, I believe.
Next week.
And then we're heading into Infinity War. Like a Thomas the Tank Engine flying out of the upstairs of a suburban home. Anyway, for the Capeless Crusaders, good night.